Hello again. It's the Trey that pulls up. Welcome to another episode of Pull Up Trey. I'm joined here by the number one, the guy, some people say, some people like me, the
Wow.
number one writer in all of Raptors media. Samson Folk. How are you doing?
What I know you're a numbers guy. What are you basing this off of?
I
Your
just like
vibes?
I look around, you know what it is? I see the reverence you have in person. In summer league, people will shake your hand and be like,
Oh.
"Wow, I
All
love your
right, man.
work. Can I get an autograph? Can we take a picture early?" And I'll just be sitting beside, and then they'll look at me a couple times, and they'll notice like, "You're on the podcast too." I'm like,
Okay, man. Dude, we
and I'm
need
like,
to get
"Yeah."
you. We got to get you in house to meet Rick Carlisle. Let's see.
Oh man,
Hey, hey.
ah,
I'm
I
uh
think
I'm
I know
doing
you.
I'm doing good, by the way. Hanging in and hanging out, ready to talk Raptors, the latest of
Damn.
what's been going on. You were right. Hit 30 wins before the trade deadline. This
We're
this also is probably we'll have a good opportunity with Brandon and Scottie to kind of review how much we were right and wrong about their games and I guess translating to this team so far.
it's fun. The Raptors 31 and 30 and 21, fourth place in the East, on pace for 47 wins, right where when we were called little schmucks. We're right where we thought they would be. I think before we kick it off, now that they've matched their season total of last year, does 47 wins seem out of this world now that you're almost 55% of the season in?
There's a lot of reasons to believe that considering the strength of the conference, that they could go above that. Now, when you lose the game to
Yeah.
New York, when you lose the game to Orlando, and you have these you give up these big leads, maybe it makes it seem like you're a lot more, I guess, vulnerable to a really great record than you would be otherwise, because those games you kind of have to put away. You have to win a lot of games to win 50 around there. Uh,
Hmm.
you were a 47 win predictor. I was 43 or 44. I can't remember. That range I'm still very comfortable with. Even though I think that by all rights, after the All Star break, they should come back a little bit healthier. The coaching staff should come back with a few new packages for their players. And with that health, I assume that the offense will be better. I'm predicting lightly a top half of the league offense for the second half of the season. Although Jakob Pertl, I don't know what's going on with him. He would help in that regard a bunch. That's where I'm at. That's my temperature check. Where are you?
I think if they don't hit 45 win plus, it'd be pretty disappointing now. Just there's 31 games left of the season, and you're telling me that they just need to win 17 of those. They need to go 17 and 14 the rest of the way. They're not even asking them to be world
Math
beaters. And
podcast.
jeez,
Very quick math on this podcast.
I'm not asking you even to be world beaters. They've probably over exceeded what a first half of the season even looked like. So if they even disappoint slightly and don't punch above their weight, I think 45 to 47 wins is like very easy, and like fifth, sixth seed at worst.
You
So
know,
I'm happy.
if you take away their 9 game win streak, they they still 500 basketball. Like it's a pretty good cushion they gave themselves.
They
They
did.
like a little pat on the back. Yeah, you're tied with the Cavs. Yeah, you've gave up more games lately than you should have. It would be pretty nice if it was 8-2 in their last 10 rather than six and
Mhm.
four. You can't win them all though. You know who did win though? An All-Star spot to his name, the second of his career, and in fact the first I think under 25 player of the Raptors to be to two separate All-Star teams. Scotty Barnes. He's from the greater Jamaican Islands by way of, some other stuff. How do you feel? How do you feel about him? He's an all-star.
He's been a lock since November. It feels like he has hit every single threshold you wanted to see from a guy that you gave a max extension. From the defensive end, he's turned into one of the five best players. My current pick for defensive player of the year and how he impacts the team overall. I think offensively, he's he's fit my expectations of what I saw, and the reasoning for the BI trade was to put him within the best position, and that is sort of be this junk man, fill in, and find your offense in spots where things aren't naturally traditional, and scrummage your way to 18 to 20, 21 points. And he's done that to perfection. He's become a serious impact player, and he's been one of the 20 best players in the NBA this season. So like he's hit that out of the park, man.
It's the defense can't really be overstated. It
Yeah.
is of significant import that a guy could actually leap into, like, yeah, I'm one of the 5 best defenders in the world. And you and
Yep.
I, we've been on this. And this is the benefit of covering a team. Like one
Mhm.
team, you get to pay really close attention. Yeah, I don't know what the odds were that Scottie Barnes was going to end up on an all defense team, but at least from how I was observing the dialogue prior to the season, only Toronto thought that that was a real possibility. You know, you and I had done work around the idea of
Yeah.
him returning not only back to All Star but also going on to make all defensive team. We were right about both those things. The things I've been wrong about so far regarding Scottie's game, and we had not lofty expectations, but
Mhm.
decent ones. He's like 30% from 3 right now. I thought
Yep.
it would be like 34, 36%. Of course, he's been shooting like 18% over 25, 30 games after starting out at 41%. We knew that wasn't real. I don't
Yeah.
think this cold streak is real either. But we are at the point now where he's like 1,100 attempts into his career and he's a 30% career 3-point shooter. Maybe despite him being like free throw percentage, 81% this year, he's been a very solid mid range shooter. Maybe the jumper is a little bit more segmented and it just doesn't expand ever. He has great touch on the hook shots and push shots, strong finisher at the rim, good free throw shooter, good mid range. Maybe it just doesn't translate to 3. I don't know. That's one of the disappointments. And also, offensively, I think that he's not expanded his scoring as much as he
Agreed.
potentially could have. Some of this is, of course, like Brandon is there, but it's good that Brandon is there. And the fact that if you don't have a 3-point shot, there's going to be some constraints that you have to be very creative to get around. That's my thoughts. But he's an all star. And
Yeah.
if he has a good second half of the season, particularly offensively, to compel some people, I think he could have a very strong shot at all NBA. It's been
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I
He's
mean,
been
he's averaging like 4 stocks a game over the last like 10 games. He's just so much playmaking on that end.
he's been great. Like I'll touch on a few of those things. Like offensively, I think we were both correct in his intentionality of being on a more serious team that he would play inside far more. I know
Hmm.
he admitted, and even the coaching staff, that there was like some experimentation in the season. As you're a bad team, let's see if we can expand his game in between some of that.
Until
Eh,
S asked him about it, then he pretended like there wasn't.
hey, but he's been much more intentional in playing inside and trying to get his shot, which has been great. I think where I was wrong in, and while I didn't think it was going to be a big expansive part of his game, I I still wish he was able to punish some of his smaller matchups, especially as a driver. Um, he has gotten better in the sense where he's more intentional. He'll play with physicality, but I don't think he's gotten to a level where he's a problem solver when teams are showing him like a loaded front. He isn't able to dissect that. As a passer, he can, but forcing teams to really collapse in a way that puts a lot of attention on himself, I don't think is there, and that might help with better shooting around him also. But overall, he's been tremendous.
To that point, he was the percent of his shot attempts that were coming at the rim last year, 30%. It was a career low. Everyone rightfully was kind of worried about
Yeah,
where's this shot diet going. This year he comes back with a career high. 40% of his shot attempts are at the rim for a guy who very clearly he's a much different type of, power forward than CMB. He's a guy
yeah,
who can kind of get up for finishing at the rim. Physically, the in-air battles, dogfights, he's phenomenal there. So the volume going up, not losing too much of the self-created aspect too. And he's also shooting nearly 70% last year at the rim, 65%. All those things, so important. He rolls more,
yep,
he scores more that way, offensive rebounding. the role switch has been very friendly to Scottie Barnes without taking away his ability to try and expand, although it hasn't been gangbusters, as you said.
Yeah, he's been great. Another guy, the Raptors have, in all the time we've done a pod, the Raptors have never had two guys seriously in contention for an All Star team,
Oh,
which is crazy. I know like there was like some RJ campaigns, but like it was never serious.
Fred was also, he was doing like the JJ Redick PR tour when Pascal was making the All Star game, you know.
But Brandon Ingram did not make the All Star team. It looks like he was edged out by a couple guys like Jalen Johnson, former Raptor Pascal Siakam. One, were you surprised? And two, do you think he was snubbed?
I was surprised. You and I sat on that couch right over there. We were
We
watching
did.
football, and you brought it up. You're like, Brandon Ingram probably will make the All Star game, and I was like, really? Because his case in other years wouldn't be that strong
Agreed.
statistically. I'm saying I like Brandon's game. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I'm a little surprised he didn't make it. I listen. I also cover the Pacers with Caitlin. I'm
Mhm.
very I've covered a lot of Pascal's career. I've obviously been a huge optimist of his game. I think he's great. It is, I think he's an all-star level player. It is surprising to see a 14th seed player get onto an
Yeah.
all-star team. That's surprising. Also, Brandon Ingram is better than Norman Powell. And I guess the Heat need some representation. Norm has been scoring a lot of buckets for a lot of years, but yeah, I'm surprised he didn't make it. It shocks me a
Yeah.
little.
I was surprised too. I think voters looked at it as the Raptors are getting one All Star and they chose the best player of the two. But I think when you look at the list, I think he should have been in. He probably will get in because Giannis isn't playing in this game. There's a pretty good chance either him
Well,
or MPJ. But
I would think that MPJ, and I don't agree with this, but
after everything
MG,
he said,
listen, MPJ scores enough
yeah,
points,
he
gets
is.
enough assists. And the thing with like Pascal making it over MPJ is Pascal has a pretty sterling defensive reputation. And this was coaches voting. All the coaches just saw him on a finals run.
Yep.
Brandon doesn't have the same sell, but he's on a
Hmm.
much better team. He's on the 4 seed. This is why, man, if the Raptors just cleaned up, did their business against the Knicks, against the Magic, and you're like 32-19 instead of 30-21, when the commissioner takes a look and leafs through the names, Brandon Ingram's probably a lot easier to say yes to. Do you have a pitch? What's your pitch?
Yeah. Um, I know like the on and offs like kind of say like Brandon is they're pretty much neutral when he's on the court. He hasn't been like the driver of any significant lineup. But I think the pitch is one, the Raptors were a 30-win team, basically constructed the same way. You add him to the team, it then puts everyone within a hierarchy that allows them to succeed. So he's also the vessel into why they've been so good outside of his minutes because they're asked to do significantly less in certain roles. You are Scottie Barnes' efficiency significantly increases because he's allowed to play within a certain way and a certain style that helps. Um, Bi, although his efficiency has still been fine, like towards his career totals, he has been asked to be their inning chewer. He's asked to be their Mark Burley, their Chris Bassett, and take up innings, take tough shots, and allow other guys to succeed while he's doing some of the most difficult things on the court. And while I think there was many years where Pascal's reputation probably did not make him an all-star. I think he's sort of reaping the benefits of being in the finals, and it's kind of balanced itself out. He's there. He should have been a 4 or 5 time All Star in some of the years. Like some of his Toronto years where he did not make the All Star team, he was tremendous. But Vi is on the fourth place team in the East for a team that no one considered would even make the play in for some people. And now if they were to fall to 7 or 8th, it'd be a huge disappointment for their season. And the common denominator in between that is them trading Bruce Brown for Brandon Ingram.
So
That's been as easy as it is.
yeah, to beef up your cell, not only is there the kind of like, are you a ball watcher? Like, do you know ball type of You go out there and you see that Ingram commands attention, and there's lots of these things that are not super easy to quantify. And innings eating is not looked upon friendly by any type of metric, but it
Yep.
is an important facet of the NBA today, especially for a team that doesn't exist at the very, very top, but a team that doesn't want to live at the bottom. You need somebody, if you can't afford to just bring in the best of the best superstars all the time, you need a second tier star to move you through, to help draw
Yep.
attention. And Ingram has done that. I think he's fit the bill. He hasn't like completely oversold, or he hasn't completely outdone. Like he's not like an undeniable all-star in terms of raw offensive impact, but the team is much better with him on it. And I tweeted about this. There's two very important things which you and I have talked about on the podcast before. He has bought in defensively. The way that
Yep.
the Raptors use him, Coach Darko and the staff deserve credit. He deserves credit for buying in. He has the highest block percentage of his career. He has the highest amount of contested rebounds per game, contested rebound rate of his career. When you think about having an undersized front court most of the time with Sandro and CMB looking to box out, Brandon tracking back to get those possessions to high point the basketball with his
Mm-hmm.
huge wingspan, it is really, really important. We talked about this before too. Their defensive rebounding percentage, the on-offs with him on the floor versus not, is like pretty astounding, man. So all that moves in that direction. He plays on a winning team. He scores buckets. He is in the conversation at least. Like he's close, and
Yeah.
it's just up to the commissioner.
Adam Silver, the amount of things that Michael Porter Jr. said this summer. Do you want that on national television? That's the first answer I ask. But I think like what BI, like similar to what you said, what BI does just is underappreciated. Like the Blue Jays, they do not win the division without Jose Barrios, and even though he's chewing up innings, they don't figure out their pitching situation, the hierarchy. They aren't able to keep their Totodile, not Totodile. What's the egg Pokemon again?
Oh, Togepi.
Togepi. They aren't able to keep their Togepi breasted and growing throughout an entire season. And Jose Brios isn't there every single day, chewing innings, getting them wins along the way. And Brandon Ingram's the same way. Like you can have questions of, is this going to scale into this huge playoff success, which we're going to talk about in a second. But he has allowed them to play in the way that you wanted to see all the in he's allowed the team to be put in positions to play winning basketball, and the other guys have seized that opportunity. So he deserves
Dude,
credit. I think he should be an all-star.
you're making the comparison that Brandon Ingram is the experience share tank Pokemon that you switch in and take the hit so that your Togepi egg or your low level Pokemon
It's
can get experience so that they
valuable.
eventually are elite. Wow. This
It's
is pretty
valuable.
good. This is pretty good. This is like top tier podcasting from you. I appreciate it. Brandon Ingram, he's a starter Pokemon. There are other Pokemon that come later that can
Yeah.
exceed and ascend, but starter Pokemon, oh, they're so important. That's great. What's next on the docket for us?
Which I guess we have to talk about the games. So since we last spoke, the Raptors lost to the Orlando Magic. One of those games where you're looking to see where they kind of measure up after the Knicks thumping, and they
Wait,
also wanted.
before you go on, I will also say that game stressed me out, and basketball can be stressful, Trey. But your choice of beer, it doesn't have to be. Coors Light delivers mountain cold refreshment. When the mountains turn blue, the beer is as cold and refreshing as the Rockies, people. It's been very cold in Toronto lately. Don't appreciate it, but I appreciate it in a beer, or at least hypothetically, philosophically. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold certified for a smoother finish. Celebrate responsibly, and you, of course, must be of legal drinking age to imbibe to take part. You can find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Trevon, back to you, sir.
Let's get back to the games. The Orlando Magic and the Utah Jazz. The Raptors split those games in sort of similar fashion to the rest of the year, where the Raptors lose to good teams and beat up on bad ones. I know we talked about whether they had a ceiling to beat some of those upper echelon teams, but I think the question is now that we're pretty sure the Raptors are going to make the playoffs. What do you think is the how confident are you that they can win their first round matchup?
I'm not super confident in the first round matchup. And of course, I would love to be proven wrong. It would be very exciting to go into a playoff series expecting to lose and to win instead. I tell you, there's very few things. I mean, you've watched the Patriots march there. I don't know if you expected them to the Super Bowl, but you've watched them march their way to it. And you tell me almost every day you're saying some sort of like, I'm so thankful for my life, like all this, all this kind of stuff. The Raptors, though, I guess if they stay for Cavs, it's because they can win a round,
Yeah.
but I think like they would have to be matched up against the perfect team. Like even imagine if they played the 76ers and they're like Embiid now plays 30 minutes a game or something.
Mhm. That's tough.
It gets really hard, and also Tyrese Maxey in that environment is probably going absolutely bonkers, bananas. We just did the podcast the last episode where we were talking about like playoff risers, and while we like a lot of the players on the team, it's yet to be determined if the Raptors have a few of those guys. They even have guys on the roster where you say like it might not run at all. We'll see how it all shakes out. I'm not super confident in a first round win, although I would love to see one. That's my stance. Where are you on winning a first round series?
Yeah, I'm similar to you. I think it really depends on the matchup and circumstance. Like one, we discussed in the IQ episode, like IQ where they would need a very strong series from him shooting the ball. Like the Magic game, when he isn't able to contribute offensively and like aver some force in terms of his gravity, they have a hard time scoring the ball and they can go through really long droughts, which is why they lost that game. And against good teams, you aren't going to be able to get to the rim as easy as you can against the Utah Jazz. You're going to have to hit shots, which is probably the toughest reason why I think them beating the Cavs or the Sixers is a tough ask. I think the Sixers largely depends on if Joel Embiid is going to play. The matchups that they've had with and without Joel are night and day, to be honest. CMB, love him, played his heart out, but it simply can't you simply can't use hyperactivity to beat someone that's 7 foot and gifted and can shoot the heck out of the ball. He can shoot the piss out of the ball actually for his just outstanding. But if it was the Miami Heat, I'm probably taking the Raptors. If they find a way to get to the 5th seed, I would confidently take them. I think with them, it would take some luck and also the matchup would just have to be perfect. So it's a challenge, but
It's
I don't think it's impossible.
it's seppuku for me, bro. If they lost to the Miami Heat in a playoff series, I would
Oh,
be. That's a team I
oh,
like. I'd be very disappointed in the squad if they lost to the Miami Heat. To your point, like quickly scores 13 points on 13 shots. The offense chokes, sputters, and dies.
yeah.
And then on the other end, Desmond Bain has 32, and Anthony Black has 25. Jalen Suggs has 14, 6, and 10. And those guys, like he also has 3 steals. Those guys just dog the Raptors, just grind everything down. Who is the most like fun pop off player for the Raptors to steal a few games, steal a round or something like that? Who having a huge series is the most fun?
The most fun is Scotty. I think him playing out of his mind and shooting the ball a bit better, like for him and his career, puts him in a higher echelon of players. And the more attention he would get for the Raptors and him, and more maybe people would want to actually play with him. So I think for them, like him being a playoff riser is the utmost important. It's almost as important as whether he wins a series or not. 'Cause if the Raptors won a series and Scotty, like in spite of Scotty, I think still be very disappointed overall.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. I still think on some level though, I think I know what like a 24, 8, and 6 series with really strong defense looks like. And that's probably more important foundationally.
Yeah.
But and I don't know if Ingram has it in his bag. I really
Mhm.
don't know. We talked about a series he had where he averaged like 28 and 5 or 28
Yeah.
and 6, I can't remember. A 28 point per game series is kind of like hell yeah to watch.
Yeah, that's very fun.
From the viewer's perspective, although like I bet other players around the league would see Scottie like cleaning up everything and be like, I want to play next to that guy and I want to be the guy scoring 28 points per game. Whereas Brandon, nobody looks at Brandon as like, I want to be doing what Scottie Barnes is doing. You know what I mean? It was like we make that joke. We make that joke about how it's why Scottie is such an like a great foundational piece for team building. Is
Mhm.
like who wouldn't want to play with that guy? But it's like what we said with Tyrese Maxey when someone asked him about, like being like Kyle Lowry, and it's like Kyle Lowry. It's like it's like, listen, Tyrese, I like you, but you're trifling right now. Okay, this is disrespect. That's a Hall of Fame point guard. But he was like, Kyle Lowry, I scored 30 points per game, quite frankly,
Yeah. You don't look at Kyle Lowry and be like, man, if my career was just like him, I would be set. Yeah, but
Dude,
you think about scoring the ball.
20 years in the league. Kyle Lowry's career is awesome. But we've had this. We don't have to rehash or relitigate this. Anyway, it's tough to win a series. But either
Yeah.
BI or Scottie popping off, an RJ Barrett 25 point per game series would be enthralling, I think. A lot of in and out dribble, bump, spin, push shot. Yeah.
That'd be good. Great speech after Vladimir Guerrero-esque. He says that I do it for my city.
This is my house.
Might bring me to tears, to be honest. That'd be awesome. Okay. The last topic we'll discuss. We're heading to the deadline, obviously, and I know we've spoke about a few candidates. For recent reports, it looks like the Raptors are trying to add a big man, and there's been a few targets, some that we've discussed like privately, probably for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, like the nerds we are. Goga Batadze, Duran Sharp, and Ease Missy, a prospect we actually did an episode on. Of those targets, it's most likely that requires Ochai and some sort of pieces. I think before we get into which one you'd prefer, do you think moving on from Ochai is the correct move?
Yeah, I do. I like Ochai. Ochai is really nice. Ochai has utility. And on top of that, I just think the Raptors, they're not in a position team building wise where they see themselves paying him. I think what's best for Ochai is honestly for him to, like, imagine if the Raptors had traded Gary Trent and then he got a run on a team where it mattered. Maybe he would have got more than the minimum. But he stayed on the Raptors and he didn't get a look at anything really. And they put him to the side down the stretch, and then he got the minimum because he didn't really get to showcase himself on a good team. And he even got paid before that, And apparently the Raptors offered him like 6 times as much money as the Bucks did. But it just anyway. I think that's what is best for Ochai is if he's not going to get minutes on the Raptors is to go somewhere else. There's probably a very happy medium to be found where the Raptors have a big man incoming, Ochai outgoing, and they're no longer looking at the tax. That is probably like a very tidy little piece of business that benefits all parties, and maybe even more so the incoming big man who gets a look at being on a top 4 team all of a sudden and getting to try and carve out minutes because bigs, it's not super competitive, but a lot of bigs end up on shitty teams. And then they just like, I got 14 points and 12 rebounds. Everyone's like, boring.
Yeah, I agree. Ochai was on this team sort of to be that floor for their wing spot and allow them to figure out and play guys like Grady and Jacoby Jamison up and down the lineup as like he provides some stabilizing floor like he did last year, but it didn't work out that way.
It's insane that he's shooting 18% from 3. It's insane.
After being like one of the most efficient role players in the NBA last year to being one of the least efficient is absolutely insane. So I still think he can be a quality NBA player, and I don't think this is the end for him. But I do think Jacoby and Grady have shown enough where you probably just want those guys to be the focus of that spot moving forward with the team, which is fine.
Even to that point,
yeah,
it could just be like Jacoby's the only guy who you look in 2 years and you comfortably say, like, yeah, he's still on the team. Like,
Yeah,
Grady has to play himself into something.
he does.
Ochai probably is leaving. It's not even necessarily anymore. It started out as like Ochai helps facilitate X and Y with these guys, but now it's just like we probably need that roster spot for somebody, a serious person, to come in and give us good minutes here. You know what I mean? Also,
Oh man,
I've never seen 40% to 18% in my life. I've never seen it.
it's crazy. If he had shot 18% last year from summer league, I'm like, I could see that because he was just atrocious in summer league, and then shot the hell out of the ball. It just makes no sense. But wishing him the best if that does happen. Of those three bigs, I'll say them again: Goga Batadze from the Orlando Magic, Daron Sharp from the Brooklyn Nets, and Yves Missy from the New Orleans Pelicans. Which one of the three would interest you the most?
Probably Dayron Sharp. And while I do think that Eve Missy definitely there's a team out there for him. And I hope that it's like, I think the Lakers probably tire a little bit of Jackson Hayes at some point, and
Yeah.
Missy gets to hop on there. LeBron might not be with the Lakers forever. It might just become full on Luka ball with guys stepping in around him. And then Becky's your aunt, Bob's your uncle there. I don't think that the Raptors have the type of on ball creators to make life easy for Missy. And that's one thing. I think defensively, he really hasn't. He's a second year player. I get it, but like he really hasn't found his feet. I do like his defensive rebounding is not super strong, which worries me a little bit. And
Mhm.
the vertical aspects of his game are intriguing, but I don't think truly unlocked on the Raptors roster. It's partially why I pushed back on the idea of Nick Claxton being a huge upgrade for Jakob Poeltl, a couple years back. We haven't seen Claxton play serious basketball in some time. Who knows how that's aged? But Dameron Sharp and also Goga, I mean, the Magic are competing for like the playoffs. Goga, I think,
Yeah.
is a little bit underrated and a little bit too same with Jakob. I do
Mhm.
think getting Dameron Sharp in there probably gives you a fairly diverse front court of, if Jakob's ever healthy, Jakob, CMB, Sandro, and Dayron. And as long as Dayron, like Kobe White, they're having trouble commanding a first round pick, reportedly. Don't listen, man. Do not come over here being like, well, we'll need a first for Dayron. Shut the hell up. Like, get on, man. Please be serious. And this is from the team that gave up a first for Kelly and Ochai. I get it. But
Ay.
I just we don't need to be giving up a first for him. But Dayron is my favorite. I don't know where you stand on it.
Yeah, I think in terms of immediate impact, Dayron makes the most sense. He fits what they want to do defensively. Like the Nets try to play hyper aggressive as well. Dayron is able to get in passing lanes, create tons of deflections and steal percentages out of this world for bigs. And he's a monster on the glass, especially as an offensive rebounder. It's something that the Raptors lack when they put Mamu in that spot. He'll be able to hold his own. He offers some of the same sort of, he isn't Jakob Poeltl, but as a passer, he's able to offer a lot of those same reads that you Darko asked many of his bigs to do. And also he played with Scottie in high school. One of the best high school teams of all time. So it's already someone that he already knows, already has played with. I think of the other two, I'd probably prefer Misi just because there's higher upside under contract for 2 more years because he's only a second year player. And if you are looking for a long-term developmental option as you figure out how to continue growing this team, there is a world where you acquire better shooting around you. Ideally, you fix the point guard spot that unlocks his game long term, and you find that option that fills in for Jakob. But that's wishful thinking. I think if they're looking to win right now and improving the team, Daron he could play 17 minutes on the team right now and be a huge ad.
Yeah. If the Raptors had made like a LaMelo trade or something, then Missy is probably the guy I want to take a shot on. For example,
Yeah.
there's lots of stuff to like with his game, but the Raptors are a good offensive rebounding team already, and other guys in the list do Missy's. You could argue that that's his greatest strength, Missy, the offensive
Yeah.
rebounding. The other guys do it, and I guess I don't know what the value of these guys. Goga, I would assume, is the highest. because he's a playoff level big. And Missy, I don't know if there's expectation for him to become one, at least not on this current contract. And teams do think about that. They're like, yeah, maybe this guy when he's 27, but will we have him when he's 27? We're going to have him when he's 22 through 24. So, Dayron. I think Dayron is a clever player. I think he's a really physical player. He is very efficient for all the, not Darko the coach, but Darko the screenshot graphs. You'd get yet another superhero Darko graph player. Can I just say, by the way, it really pisses me off that Darko seems to think that there's only like 6 good players in the NBA. And then otherwise it's like, oh yeah, this guy who averages like 24 points per game, he sucks. You know who's great? Sandro Mamukelashvili. Give him $30 million. Why? What? How? Who calculated this? And I know who calculated it. I get hard work went into it. Smarter people than me running through data. I get it. Weighing things, or not weighing, weighting things appropriately. Anytime there's a guy who scores between 18 points per game and 25 points per game, that damn stat is like, this guy sucks, actually. You should invest in this guy who scores 7 points per game, but gets 2 offensive rebounds a night. I don't know what's going on with it, but anyway, catch-alls.
Great. Do you like remember like the Robert Williams era when he was a young player and his purse 75, where it looked like he was Wilt Chamberlain across the board? To be like, you see like the smartest Celtic fan, like Robert Williams averages 56, 21, and 19 blocks. It's a game.
Oh man, I've never had like a public conversation with a player about catch-alls, because like it comes across as like sour grapes if they have good catch-alls or if they don't. But that has to be weird. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a player, what I want to do is I want a stat where I'm like, I know what this stat is saying. I do not, under any circumstance, do I want somebody who's like, well, I decided that, assists, they have like a really high correlation from the center position to being a great defender. So Nikola Jokic actually has the best defensive like catch-all stat of all time. And it's like, that guy gets to decide to make a number that is viewed by people who pay me about how good I am. I'm losing it, man. I'm losing my mind. And also, I think it emboldens people to argue about players that they just don't watch. Well, they're like, this guy has a higher blip than this guy's blorp. So suck my dick, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, it's clearly you go and you like, you're like a conversation happening and you're like, these guys don't watch the game. They're just like, they just are looking at like data baller screenshots or some shit. Anyway, that's anyway.
I feel like this is a great place to end things. Exactly right there. Any last words, my dear friend?
Nah, I just said too much entirely.
All right then. Solid. The Raptors, 30 wins. When we get to 31,
it's year 31 for both of us now.
Yeah, holy. We just I just attended one of our friends' birthdays just last week and just could see the age on him, man.
That's funny.
It's coming for us all.
Yeah. Hey man, that's the thing about life. Nobody gets out alive. Your
birthday is just different. Like if we were 21, it's like what are we gonna do all night? Such and such and such. But like when you're 30, you gotta have a plan. We're gonna do this for these 2 hours, and like everyone's just gonna go home.
Dude, can I tell you, when I was 21, I was not really. I loved activities. I wasn't like, yo, let's go out all night. Let's do whatever. Let's just see where the night takes us. Like, oh my God. I wasn't listening to We Are Young by Fun, feeling whimsical or like wondering about Halcyon Days. I always was like, why don't we go go-karting at like 3 p.m. for my 21st birthday? I just that, and I was like, and I want to go home and eat like an ice cream cake or something. Just gas, man. But you at 21, what'd you do for your 21st birthday?
Where did I go? I went on a road trip.
Wow.
Where did I drive to?
Detroit?
We drove, Detroit, Chicago. Oh, I went to Six Flags.
Did you
We
drive
were-
go-karts?
I did. Yes.
Because I did go-karts on my 20. There's not a Six Flags near Saskatoon. There's not a lot going on over there, but I did drive go-karts.
Well, it's I guess that's so whimsical as a child. Let's just go to Six Flags. Let's just drive. It's not so
More
like-
flags, more fun. That's who came. And you're a marketer, you might know who came up with these things. Maybe it's in like your guy's big book where it's like, oh yeah, John H. Macy. He was the one who came up with more flags, more fun. And you guys like go to the hall. You're like, we remember him, man. Like the way we talk, like we're like, remember when Shelvin Mack had 3.8 assists per game and led the Magic? Do you guys have like a marketer's equivalent? Who made the Pepsi Kendall Jenner ad? That's what I.
Fire him. I don't know. I would say the Shelvin Mack is like when people like talk about putting stuff on deal. They're like, just throw that 99 on it. It'll entice people. That's like the easiest go to move. It's the LeBron James look at the hand, pull up the three. It's
hell yeah.
It's elite. You know these moments when they mention, what are you guys talking about at the end of pods? Like this is exactly what they are talking about.
The funny thing is though, I bet this for I don't know what percent of people. For some people, I would suspect that this is their favorite part of the podcast. I wouldn't think it's a large percentage, but it is a percentage.
Yeah, I'm fun. All right. I guess if you have no other words, still no catchphrase, but we're working on it. Have a blessed day and win 31 loading.